Alrighty, I think we're live. Hi everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope you can all hear me. I'm just gonna wait a couple of seconds actually for folks to join. Just wave if you're here and let me know. I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown, the founder of Restful Sleep MD. And one of the things that I am passionate about, especially with my business, which is Restful Sleep MD, is empowering busy professionals, especially busy moms and their children, to prioritize sleep as a critical aspect of their health and wellness so they can move from chronically exhausted to living a bountiful, vibrant life. And so one of the things I really wanted to get on here and just talk to you about is the ability to say no, because it's actually very essential to be able to say no so that you can prioritize your sleep. So it turns out there's that connection. And the reason why is sometimes it may not be your children that are impacting your ability to sleep. As busy professionals, the word busy usually connotes that we're constantly on the go. And so when we're doing that, our sleep usually then ends up being sacrificed. And I really wanted to talk about some things I've been working through that I'm just really excited to share with you today. So I've been reading this book called Essentialism by, I believe, Greg McCowan. I may not be saying the name right. And there's a chapter there that talks about there's a chapter there that talks about the importance of sleep. So that just had me. So go grab that book and just listen to it. I usually use Audible. But I was really listening to it, and there was a chapter where it talked about just saying no. And, one of the things you hear a lot is, no is a full sentence, just say no, just say no. For some people, it's easy, it comes naturally. But for some others, especially people who are like highly driven and feel like they can accomplish everything and take on the world, yours truly, I'm guilty. It's harder, especially if you've been a yes girl. It's harder to just then suddenly say no. And this is a muscle that I feel that we all should develop. But in the process of developing that muscle, what are some things that you can do? The reason why, we have to say no sometimes is that we then have to focus on what the author called the essential few, and say no to the trivial many. In fact, when those opportunities present themselves, sometimes those opportunities seem so amazing. But then if you think about it, if you're doing things right, you're sleeping about 8 hours or 7 to 9 hours, right, at night. And so that really leaves you with about 16 hours. So you want to make sure that those 16 hours, you're really saying yes to the things that feed you, to the things that give you joy, and also to the things that will give you the best return in terms of your values and things like that. So it's really a tool. The ability to say no is a tool we do need to be able to move forward in achieving our goals, our dreams, and in order to be able to sleep well. If you don't, then what happens is you're prioritizing so many things that sleep really doesn't make it on that priority list. So I just really wanted to share with you, I would say, 6 things that I have taken away just reflecting on the way to say no when those requests come up. Now your kids are asleep, and now all you're left with is those things that you've said yes to that's now taking away time for you to be able to sleep. So the first is just say no. Just say no. Will you join this committee? No, that's it. No. So you could say it gracefully, you could say it resolutely, or you could say it firmly, or you could say it all 3 ways. Just say no. So that's one. Again, for some of us, just saying no, you may sum up the energy and say no. And then after that, maybe a couple of weeks go by and you start to feel guilty, and then you slip back to saying yes again and becoming that yes girl. And all of a sudden we're in this vicious cycle again where we have just too much on our schedule. So other ways, apart from one, just say no, a second way that you can say no is to pause. Yes, that's silence, awkward pause. And really, you don't have to put yourself under pressure. If anyone is putting you under pressure to say yes to something, it might not be what you should be saying yes to. So you can step back and say, I have to think about it. I'll get back to you. I need to check my calendar to see if I can accommodate this. Or I'll send an email. Let me follow up with you. I'll send you a follow-up email. This way you're giving yourself a moment to really think through, does this work? Is this really aligned with my values? Do I have the time for this? And then, of course, you close the loop because you don't want the person wondering, is she available? Is she not? So you close the loop. So pause. That's the next one. The third one I would say is the sandwich compliment. And I think that's something that I have mastered relatively well. And so essentially what it is, okay, for example, I would love for you to volunteer on this committee or whatever. The sandwich compliment really is, oh my goodness, thank you so much. It would be such an honor to work with you. I really thank you for thinking so much, for thinking about me for this opportunity. However, I really don't feel that I have either the bandwidth to do it. Now, you can make this up anyhow you want. Or I don't know that I have the time commitment to do this in a way where I'll be sure I'll do a good job and I'll be able to deliver at the optimum. So I would have to, unfortunately, decline the offer. And then you wrap it up with another compliment. But in the future, if this kind of opportunities come again, please do remember me, that kind of thing. So that's the sandwich compliment. So that's the third one. Number 4 is pay it forward. So for instance, if someone comes and says, oh yes, I would love for you to join this committee. I'm saying that a lot because I'm asked to join a lot of committees, but whatever it is that request is for you, maybe drive me somewhere, take me shopping, something, it may be a request from your kids, anything, is paying it forward. So what I mean by that is find someone else, find another woman in your community that you can elevate. So if it's a great opportunity where you feel like you don't have the bandwidth to take on, you could find somebody else that, a mentee or somebody who may have the time to be able to take that on, and you can suggest them. Of course, you have to have talked to that person first. And so you could say things like, oh, wow, this is great. You know what? I think this would be an incredible opportunity for so and so. And, again, you should have had that conversation with that person because you don't want her to now be stuck with an obligation that you were dodging. So if she wants to take that on, then, you can do that. So that's pay it forward. Number 5 is say yes, but find what you can deprioritize. So you have a limited amount of time in the day. You have time that you should be asleep. So 8 hours because you really want to be your best self. 7 to 9 hours is what's ideal. So you have 16 hours. And within that 16 hours is so many other commitments you may already be engaged in. So if you say yes, think about other things that you can deprioritize. And then the last but not the least is focus on your trade-off. Focus on your trade-off. So what does that mean? Again, it's almost similar to deprioritizing. So what are you going to trade for that? If you have 2 hours a day that you say, okay, this is my white space or my time for creativity, when you're saying yes to that ask, are you taking off of that time that you had slotted to be creative, to just be, to spend time with family or to sleep or to rest? Think about your trade-off. So think about your trade-off in terms of other commitments. Think about your trade-off in terms of the other things that give you joy that may potentially end up being sacrificed at the expense of this ask. And think about the trade-off in terms of your sleep. That's the most important one as far as I'm concerned. Because if you were to say yes to this ask, does that mean that you will now then have to stay up later at night? And now instead of going to bed at 10, because you took on this new obligation, you now have to be up till much later, till midnight or something like that. So that's a trade-off that then will jeopardize something. So let that be the drive as you turn down that request or as you say yes to it. And again, when you do this, when you lead with this, when you start to say no in whatever strategic way you want that works for you, that works for your personality, you might be met with disappointment and let down, and initially it may feel awkward for you, but this is something that people will appreciate you for eventually when you start to set those boundaries. And so I really hope this has been helpful. I just came here, was kind of impromptu. By the way, Happy New Year. I just realized this is my first IG live since the new year. And, these were just some things that I've been thinking through, and I just really wanted to share it with you. So I do have a YouTube channel for those of you that don't know, and I release weekly videos on all things sleep as it relates to you as a busy mom or your children or your teenagers as well. So that's a way I want to serve you and serve the community. And another thing is I do have the Sleep in Teens course, which is a course that's designed for teens, and I would love it if you head on to my website. It's called Restful Sleep MD, and Restful Sleep MD/courses will take you to the Sleep in Teens course. And if you have a teen that you want to gift this course to, they will thank you for it. I already have some feedback from folks that have participated and they've really enjoyed it. The teens feel very empowered. So you can register right there at restfulsleepmd.com. So that's all I had to share with you today. You can say no, even if you're not sure how to say, you could find strategies, ways whereby you can say no to the things that don't serve you, and you can say yes to what really adds value to you and what you feel is essential for you. So I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.